Hey, Leah.
Hey, come on, intro.
So happy our dudes about today. We have Miss Leah Wells, Sound Girl. It's no longer Sound Girl 360, correct?
Yeah, just sound girl for the booth.
Sound Girl Photo Booth.
Yeah.
And she is out of, well, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself so you can tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, where you're from, where you cover, all those things.
All right. Well, I am Leah, also known as Sound Girl. I am from New Jersey, born and raised, and now I'm like closer to Philadelphia. So I'm like in South Jersey now. And we cover where do we cover? Everywhere.
That's why I was like,
Natively,
let me let her tell
yeah.
because I know you from DC, Tampa, Florida, Charlotte.
Yeah, so natively we cover New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia area. We've done events in Baltimore, we've done events in Charlotte, we've done events on the West Coast, we've done events down in Miami. So we go wherever we needed to go. So we have been fortunate to do some nationwide stuff, but natively we're in the northeast part of the country, and we've been
Okay.
in business since 2021. March of 2021 officially was our launch, and been doing events since April of 2021.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, tell us a little bit about your background in photography and then what drew you to the tech side of like the photo booth industry. Like from how did you make the switch or what sparked your interest in photo boothing?
Initially, I would see photo booths, occasionally at weddings and things like that, events. I would see them more at weddings. I guess you would say prior to the pandemic. So I would see them at some events, but natively, I would just think of weddings when I thought of photo booths. I was
Yeah.
doing photography. I got pushed into photography. Everybody would just ask me to bring my camera. I just had a basic camera, and they were like, "Could you bring? We're having a party. Can you take pictures?" And I was like, "Well, maybe I'm supposed to be doing something with this." That was like 2012 when I bought my first camera. I think it was a Canon T3i, and just bought like a little starter kit. I was like, if I'm going to spend some money, but not too much money, to see if I was going to be into it. And then kept upgrading my cameras from there, and then finally got what at the time was my dream camera, which was a Canon 5D. I think that was like 2020. Then of course the pandemic happened. But how did I get in the photo booths? I saw a 360 video on Instagram. It was just a video, and I thought it was like really cool. So I kind of looked into it, but didn't really look into it. Was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Store it for later. And then my best friend comes to me. She said, this is around the time like everybody was getting like the stimulus money and all that kind of stuff. She said, well, if you had some money right now, like what would you do? What would you put it into?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I kind of saw this 360 thing. I said I looked into it, but I didn't really, really didn't look into it. I said, but I think it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like to do some events with it. It looks pretty cool. She said, well, okay, I have some money. And I said, well, I have some money. And I said, well, let's ask her son, which was my godson. I said, well, let's, see if he wants to get into it. And we all came up with about, I think like $2,000 each, and started our business with the one booth. We bought enough to get started. I kind of researched it, and we ended up like, of course, the one company always comes up. I think it was who comes up for 360. It was OrcaView, and who am I thinking of?
Revo spin.
RevoSpin came up, and I was like, they're getting it from somewhere. So we got our first booth off of Alibaba, and that's the time they weren't making like 70 of them a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, we paid a good, a little bit of change for a decent amount of money for it, and it arrived like the beginning of April, and the day before it arrived, we had booked an event. Well, not booked, like we said we're going to test it. We were going to do a test, and we did an event for a friend's birthday party like a day after we got it. No, so we tested. No, we got it. We tested, and then a day later we had the event. But at that time I was already
What
testing
software were you
software,
using?
TouchPix.
Epics. Okay.
So I got the software to test it. I'm like, well, we can test it, without the software. So we did it. We figured it out,
This is
and there we
20,
go.
2021.
2021,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we got our first booth in 2021, and took off from there.
And you moved on from 360. So 360 was the initial entry into the industry, which is
Yes.
so crazy because the 360s have been out, and one, they weren't available. Like you couldn't get them. And then when they became available, there were so many different ones. I remember I want to say it was maybe 2018. There was these floor ones, not like the track one. It was like a circle, and it was about this thick, and it just kind of ran around, and people were like, oh, I don't know. You had, I want to say it was Orca-View. Orca-View was there. They were at the Photo Booth Expo that year, and they had the life-size one, that really little one, only one person can get on. They had the big one. There was that little square one, and it was manual, and like you literally felt like you could put one foot on one side, one foot on the other, and they spun it around. And it was a company out of LA, and they were doing it. And then there was somebody in the hallway doing what. It was just crazy. And I was still like, no. And then other people were like, I'm ready. I'm pulling the plug. I'm getting this 360. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I was still like, no. And then it was like you said, it was the people asking, that 360. Can you get the? And I was like, well, I don't want them to go nowhere else. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it together, right? So I'm gonna take my customers with me with this 360 journey. And as you know, I went with a couple of them before I ended up with my final manufacturer, which is Orca-View, and absolutely love them. And I would say it hasn't really changed. I think the same interest is still there. We just do it better now,
Right. That part. It's funny. My first booth was gigantic, so I didn't. They put them in. What do they measure them in centimeters? And we, unfortunately, we don't operate in centimeters. We're the only country who doesn't. So I didn't really realize how big that was going to be in inches. And so I had it shipped to my sister's house in Delaware to avoid some taxes. So I'm in there, and I have a car, and so the guy, the DHL guy, he was like, well, this is really big. I think you're going to need a truck. Oh, okay. So I called my best friend. Her husband had a pickup truck. And I was like, you're going to have to come get this because this is not going to fit in my car.
And did you have to go to the airport to get it? Oh, no, you had to ship to your house. I know a few people, the vendor they used, they had to go to the airport and pick up.
No, we were able to get it to the house, but it was so big. I was like, this is not going to work. So we still have that booth. But we do not pull it out anymore because we have the two Orca-View 39-inch. So we have like 5 360s all together. We have a small one. We have that gigantic one, and then we have the two Orca-Views that are 39, the galas, 39 galas, and those are our bread and butter. And then we have the overhead. So that's our large one that we try to sell. But yeah, we not stay away from that monster.
You gotta be real special.
Very.
That one come out.
yeah. And I haven't met anybody that's special in about a year.
So many people don't. Well, all right. So we met. How did we meet? We met through what?
I first became aware of you in PBX, my first PBX, which was 2022. Okay. And then I joined the Chit Chat group, and then you asked for help with the Commanders group, the Commanders event, the draft day event. So I was like, I can come. And then so I came down to help you with the Commanders event. And it was, I forget how many people you had that day. I remember Keisha was there.
Felt like maybe 8 people. Wait,
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mallory there?
Mallory was there. Keisha was there.
You had a lot of people.
My group of people, Sanisha and Tez.
Yeah.
And it was somebody else. Because somebody was Billy sent somebody from Florida. Remember?
Yeah, the guy.
What was his name? John? John was there.
Yes, he was very nice.
He was running, him and Tez. Tez was running the green screen. Keisha was running the digital booth. Mallory was running the mirror. Sanisha was running the video testimonial. John was running the photo booth with the green screen. It was a lot going
It was a
on.
lot going on. And I remember like it was like you was like, I don't have a memory card. I was like, well, I got one. So I ran to my car. Then you like, I think we can use one. We're like, oh, I got one. So I ran in the car and getting stuff that we needed. And then that was it. Like that's basically how we like kind of got introduced.
And so that is why Leah is called MacGyver. So we know Leah as MacGyver in the community. So what are some of the more innovative solutions or hacks you have implemented into the photo booth industry?
We saw my yesterday hack was the jumper cables.
Jumper cables for backdrop clamps.
For backdrop clamps. But I just kind of travel with stuff. Like I think in my laptop bag, which I usually always have with me, I just have like cables, extra hotspots. Like I usually run around with like 2 hotspots. I have a little kit, like my 360 kit. I'll have like all kind of screws that like photography kit screws are usually good because a lot of stuff, cameras and things like that, they run with those screws. So
Right.
I usually keep like 2 of those emergency kits, and they're usually like 30 screws or so in those kits. I'll keep those. I have GoPro clamps, all kind of stuff that I just kind of have collected because I've needed it at some point. I'm like, you know what, just keep it. You know what I mean? Keep it in the kit, and there you go. Scissors, of course, scissors and tape. Scissors and tape, gaffer's tape.
We just had to get real resourceful. For me, and this is probably for a lot of boothers. If you do flash, sometimes you forget the pin.
Mm-hmm.
So flash could actually sit up there because we're so used to bounce cards, and then you want to put a flash together, and then you don't have it. So that I'm trying to think some other things that people go through that they would need.
I've taped the flash up.
I've taped it. I've taped the flash.
I have taped the flash up.
I've had somebody stand there and hold it.
Yeah, that's it.
Darn
that
it.
too.
Get it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I have now I think there's a trigger that I want to try. It's like a little nano trigger. It's about like this big. And it works well with the Godox flashes that I have, but it's not that big. So I'm going to see if it'll work. Because right now I'm using the sync cable, which works fine. But if I can have it a little bit neater where, you know what I mean? Like even if I want to do like an off camera type of thing with 2 flashes, the sync trigger will work. So I'm going to get, it's only like $90. So that's going to be my next little thing that I can see if it works. My dog is hollering if you hear some whining in the background.
Yeah, at first I thought it was mine, and because he does that too. But he's either that or he's chewing. So that's what I hear him doing now. He's on his bone, and I don't know if anybody else can hear it, but
I can't hear it. But yeah, Hercules wants to be. He figures that I'm in the front of the house that I should take him somewhere, but I'm not. Come here, Hercules.
So we know Leah's a good person because she is also a dog lover.
Yes.
So how do you leverage your technical experience or expertise to enhance the photo booth experience for your clients and guests? Like we always talk about standing out amongst the crowd. A lot of places are saturated, and you want to kind of bring your expertise to the floor, to the floor when you are bidding or going up against other companies. So how do you present your expertise or your knowledge, your years of experience, and make you kind of stand out and make the clients go with you over anybody else?
Quality, number one. I don't, like your setup should look great, but if they get a crappy product at the end of it, it looks like it's bells and whistles, but there's no substance. So I think you should give them both. I think your setup needs to look amazing, neat. Everything needs to be in its place. But at the end of the day, when they get that picture, when they see themselves on that screen, and they get that picture, them keeping coming back to the booth over and over again lets me know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like their initial reaction, they're like, "Oh, this looks great," and then they go grit other people. You know what I mean? So that tells me right then and there that I'm doing what I need to do, and that it's engaging and exciting, and they love what they see.
Yeah. Can you share a challenging situation you faced with equipment or setup? Mine is jumper cables, and how you cleverly resolved it. I don't know if you can get more clever than that, but I'm sure you have.
um, I mean, we all have had like internet issues,
Yeah.
which is like, you know what I mean? Like when the internet, like you go some places and it's just you might as well be in a cave.
Hmm.
So AirDrop always helps with that. But I remember my sharing software was just like, it just was not going to work. So, you know, everything at that time, the slideshow was attached to it. I was supposed to share from it. So I was like, all right. So I think I was using Decent Tech at the time.
Hmm.
And I was like, I can save the Dropbox. So I opened up Dropbox. I was able to just to get it up to Dropbox, and I used Dropbox as a sharing output. And that
Oh,
was my backup. Yeah. So the files went there. They were able to text the link to themselves. And I just opened Dropbox up on the sharing station, and we were able to kind of get that to go because the software just was like, I'm not going to do my thing right now.
wow.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah, I haven't used my Decent Tech in so long, but you definitely needed lots of workarounds and backups with that software. I know I had two for sharing, not sharing, for the slideshow um, solution, but it was always hit or miss depending on that internet. That
Right.
internet is ugh. I don't
Right.
have any of those problems now, more recently, because like you said, AirDrop is usually our go to when our internet is a little soft. But other than that, it is what it is. We always tell people in our contracts too. You know.
Right. And then they know, like the guests kind of know when the internet is bad because they don't have signal either. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So if the internet, like I have T-Mobile is my hotspot,
Yeah.
and then I have AT&T as my regular cell phone. So I'll try those first. So if sometimes AT&T is a bad area or T-Mobile's a bad area, you know what I mean? Like I can bounce one off the other. And then when I know those are both bad, okay, I'll try the venue Wi-Fi. But we've been places where the venue Wi-Fi was like, you might as well have push a turtle to send the information out. First thing I do is I run speed tests. I run Ookla speed tests when I get to an event. So that tells me how fast my connection is. If it looks slow, if it's below 5 megabytes per second, I try to be at least 20. But if it's definitely like 5 megabytes or slower, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a problem. So I'll switch to try the phone. Then I'll try their Wi-Fi. And if it's still slow, I'm like, we just gonna have a slow night. It is gonna be what it's gonna be. But the
It
guests
is.
are gonna probably suffer as well. So
Yeah.
they're a little bit understanding. And then as soon as I get out of there, I'll keep my regular personal hotspot running and I'll keep the tablet on. And they usually just fly out once I leave that area.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what cutting edge technologies or trends do you see shaping for the future of the photo booth industry? And how are you integrating them or plan to integrate them into your workflow?
I think a lot more video stuff, non 360 video is coming out. You see, PBM has introduced their little paparazzi booth. We've
Mhm.
been seeing it pop up everywhere. But I think because you got to remember, like TikTok is the wave, you know what I mean? Instagram Reels, everything is video, especially the generation below us.
Yeah.
They like to, put it on their stories. That's just what they
Yeah.
do. They don't. I'm like, what are you guys going to do 5 years from now when you go to look back and there's nothing on your Instagram page because you haven't posted? Like
No.
I guess you can archive the stories, but it's just easier to see it from your page. And I think eventually they'll realize that they need somewhere, need something more permanent. But either way, right now I feel like more video. We can definitely be creative with the video and AI and green screen work. So we can get more creative with that. And you can be anywhere. You know what I mean? If you want to be in Paris, you can be in Paris with the green screen with video effects. So I think we're going to be able to do some cool stuff with that. There's an app out now that just they've been playing around with called Viggle, which is like AI, like where you can make people do stuff in AI. Um, my son, so so you can do stuff with that. I think we can like once that gets going, we can kind of be creative. I think AI video, like how we use the photo world, I think it's think we're not there yet because of the amount of time it takes to process, but eventually it'll catch up.
Yeah.
You will be able to do like little short clips, but you can take something, you may be able to do like a quick AI intro that you can save for a client. Let's say you wanted, like you wanted to make the person look like they were dancing on the streets of London or something like that. That'll be
Yeah.
something that we can do as an intro and then go into a video and do something like that.
I love it. I love it. Um. So I I use you as a resource for the community. I think a lot of people um, find a lot of value from talking to you, from working with you, collaborating with you. So I feel like you are a tremendous asset to the Chit Chat Photo Booth community as a whole. We've done uh, events surrounded around your technology skills. We had Tech Day. We're getting ready to head down to Houston, and you're going to be working with our photo booth owners that are attending the photo booth owners retreat. What do what are you thinking? What are some of the plans? What have you been thinking about, introducing or visiting with your workshop down in Houston?
So I want to kind of show some people some ways to be creative with some of these apps. There's a lot of stuff. They're like, oh, like, how do you do it on social media? I'm like, there's some stuff in TikTok that you can do. Like, you can make some stuff in TikTok that's really simple. Like, they some of their templates that they already have pre-made is everything you need. Just dump the clips in TikTok, and then you can they have it where you can kind of edit and adjust how you need it. But that's really a lot of where I do a lot of my video editing is right in TikTok. So showing people how to just capture some social media stuff in there and just use that app that you already have that's free, and you can download it without the watermark. You can add music to it and let it do what it needs to do. But a lot of people don't realize, like, it just looks overwhelming when they try to do it. So kind of simplify some of that stuff. Some of the other apps that they see, like CapCut, take some of those apps and kind of teach them to simplify their, so they can get the social media content to look the way they want it to. CapCut, you can make ads in CapCut. They have voiceover stuff you can do. Like, you can take a product, put 5 characteristics about that product in CapCut, and it'll make a whole ad for you. So be intentional about the content that you capture. So that way, if you want to make an ad for your roamer, you can have it make an ad, and it'll spit out an ad, and you can adjust it how you want. But some people just feel overwhelmed because it looks intimidating when they see it. So we can do some hands-on stuff with like some of those apps. And even with the AI stuff, like, just do some hands-on stuff, show them how to download it. And like, this is what you do. This is how you get that to look the way you want it to look.
I love it. Because besides photo boothing, photography, you do social media management as a business.
Yes. Yeah. So that's been working out. I have an organization, and they were like, we don't do social media all we want to, and we're just not good at it. I said, all right. So I was just actually having a conversation, giving them some ideas. I did like I do clothing as well, like you said, the shirts. And so I did a big shirt order for them. And then I was just talking to them, like we were just talking about, she was like, I'm just not good at social media, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, try this, blah, blah. She said, what if I just hire you? Okay.
Yeah, because all that talking, I don't want to do none of it.
Yeah, I don't want to do none of that. So, you know how we do. Like, you're like, I don't want to do any of that, but I'll pay somebody to do it. So I've been doing that now for almost 2 years. And so manage their social media. And it's, it's not overwhelming or anything like that. Like, I probably wouldn't take on too many clients, with projects, because especially this time of year, photo boothing gets really busy. So they're manageable enough where I can handle their social media. I even go to their office once a week and get in-person content. And sometimes I'll, I have their people send me content as well. So it works out pretty well, and just finding ways to be creative for their organization. They're not selling anything, but they just want people to see what they do and be present online. And so people know what it is that they do.
Good. So what is this? Is this right? Soundgirl.fun?
Yes. Yes, that is our website. I bought the domain name. I was like looking at the new domain names because I felt it was so long. It was soundgirl360photobooth.com. I was like, soundgirl.com, they wanted to charge me like $10,000 for it. So I was looking, they was like, well, these names are available. I said, well, what about fun? We have fun. You know what I mean? Like, we like our events to be fun. I was like, let's try it and see how it goes. Now, here's the thing. The one good thing, the one bad thing about it is that it's not being used so much heavily yet. So sometimes like they treat it as spam. So I always have to tell clients, like, if I'm sending a proposal, if you don't see it, check your spam, because it may treat it as spam until they get used to that domain.
Yeah. I have that issue through my my CRM 17 hats. Some of my emails go over there. And like you said, once, we start communicating a little bit more, they save my email as a contact. Let's do that. Um, I have that issue. And then sometimes it just depends. I think it's maybe in the subject area or how
Yeah,
I'm.
it's just, it doesn't like the link. Sometimes it doesn't like the link. Check share. I have check sharing, and it does, does the same thing. So I always tell them to check spam. What I mean? I'm like, I'm sending it in 10 minutes. If you don't see it in 15 minutes, then check your spam. And then,
Yeah,
I can see if they've opened it and things like that. And then I still have the old domain. It just forwards to the new one. So I
yeah.
still have that email. And if worse comes to worse, I have a good old fashioned Gmail account. Um, so we got three. Actually, I have Leah at soundgirl.fun. I have info at soundgirl.fun. I have info at soundgirl360.com, those 360photobooth.com. And then I have my soundgirl360photobooth at Gmail. So we got 4
It can
emails.
come from.
It can come from everywhere. You're going to get this email.
Anything else you want to tell the people how they can get in contact with you? Like Leah's great. She makes shirts. She is extremely resourceful when it comes to photography questions. We collaborate all the time, especially with Spot My Photo. I'm not a photographer. And when you want your client to have the best of the best, you call on the best. So we've been able to work together in the last couple of months, a few
Yeah,
times,
a few
and we
times.
just booked a deal today. So
Yeah.
no
I'm excited
down.
about that one. Yeah.
So I think everybody should reach out to you, get to know you. Definitely come to the photo booth retreat in now shoot. I'm gonna have to say
Houston.
Tampa. Nashville. Let's
Houston.
go to Nashville. No, in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to Houston.
I am
Yeah.
too. I am too.
Yeah.
In the visit while I was there, thank God I missed the storm. But while I was there, I was like, oh, I could just feel the energy. I feel how we're gonna come down there, take over. This is probably gonna be the biggest retreat, just because there's so much interest in going to Houston. All of my visits, they love the date. They were like, that's the best time to come to Houston. The weather's
Right.
still great. We're out of the storm season. So everything should be really, really good. Look at Hercules.
Mm-hmm. Spoiled. Now you don't have nothing to say.
No, like this is all I wanted. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But I'm looking forward to Houston. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. And anytime that the Chit Chat community gets together anyway, it's always a great time. We learn from each other. The sidebar conversations are always great. Like like the little after conversations. We learn a lot from there. It's a great time. It's a great intense 3 days, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yes. So we look forward to that. And what else is coming up on horizons? I'm trying to think.
What's we got going on? I don't know. It's wedding season. It's graduation season. Like it's so busy right now. Yeah.
Well, we're wrapping up proms, going into
I did
wedding.
get a lot of proms this year. Which is I was okay with. So because like I had other stuff going on, but I got a lot of graduations. I got more graduations than prom.
Yeah.
Private parties. I'm doing a big graduation for a university. They're out of some island in the Caribbean, but they do their graduation. They have like a lot of online students, and they do their graduation in New York. Shout out to Leandro, who's going to help me with that one. I was like, I do not want to go to Queens for 2 days. I did it last year, and I was like, well, no, last year was 1 day, but it was one long day. And then this year was going to be 2 days. I was like, I do not want to go to Queens for 2 days. And then I started getting some local events. So I was like, hey, you want to handle this in Queens? She was like, sure. Okay. Then I can stay local. So shout out to her. But looking forward to that. I do have a couple events that I'll probably be traveling for this year, which is good. You know what I mean? I like doing that. I actually went to San Diego this year, which was exciting. Yeah, so that's been good. And, I try not to travel when I don't have to, but this was a client. I'm like, I need to be there, to make sure it was right, which was good. And that was my first time I've been to Vegas, but I've never been to California. So that was fun. And we did 7 events in California last year, and I didn't have to do any of them. That was amazing. Yeah. A shout out to the photo booth community, because we, like when you, we are there for each other.
I know they're like, well, she knows everybody. She goes everywhere. We work under the motto community over competition. And
Hmm.
so it's all about us not having to ever say no to our clients. There's always somebody that's in the area that knows something more than we do, has a booth that we don't have, is willing to work together. And so as we work together, we just keep growing our businesses individually, because you are being able to tap into resources through our community that you may not have the time to do on your own. Like, sitting there learning, oh, I gotta go take photography skills. No, let me just hire a photographer
Right.
and let's split it. Oh, I gotta go buy a Vogue booth. No, your partner down the street has one. Use theirs. So
Right.
that's what I love about Chit Chat, is that we're no gatekeeping. We share everything. We talk every daggone day. Feels like we do. Some of us. And then,
Yes.
there's so many places to get really good information, ideas, and help.
Right. And then here's the thing, like I know like there's certain people that like we can call on, and then when they run an event, like you forget that you have an event somewhere else because they take care of everything. Like you don't have anything to worry about. Like like some people I'd be like, oh, they text me, oh, I'm here. Oh, you are somewhere, aren't you? Like, you know what I mean? Thank you, because I forgot. But that's how much I trust them, you know what I mean, to be where they need to be. And that's a resource you can't find everywhere. So I'm very grateful to the Chit Chat community for, you know what I mean, like for always being available and, you know what I mean, like willing to learn. Like everybody learns from one another. So like, that they can do what you're asking them to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're open to learning new stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the good thing. So I absolutely love our group, and I definitely love you. And I thank you so much for doing this and for all the things that you are preparing to do with us in the community. And we'll be seeing you soon, like in like 2 weeks.
Yes.
2
Yes.
weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Well, this was good. We kept a good timing. So this is a good episode. And I
Good.
look forward to having you come back. I want to do something closer to November where we have all of the topic leaders together. We do a special Chit Chat photo booth podcast with all of our topic leaders for Houston, and just kind of like a meet and greet and get to know everybody again and share what we're going to be learning down there.
Yes. I can't wait.
All right.
All
All
right.
right, lady. Well, I
Okay.
will see you tonight on Money Making Monday.
Money Making Monday. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.